I could never imagine that I will have a story for Reddit, but it happened 3 years ago. The day I confronted my husband's secret. I still remember the sound of the kettle that morning, that low, impatient whistle, as if even it knew something in my life was about to boil over. It was a Tuesday, one of those ordinary days that disguise themselves as safe until they pull the rug from under you. I had been living with an unease for weeks, maybe months. At first, I blamed it on myself. Too tired, too sensitive, too ready to find shadows in a well-lit room. But I couldn't ignore the small changes in my husband, Daniel. The way his phone seemed glued to his hand, the sudden, unexplained late nights, how his laughter had changed, lighter, but never with me. That morning, I was folding laundry when his phone lit up on the kitchen counter. The name that flashed on the screen wasn't familiar, but the message underneath was enough to send my pulse racing. I can't stop thinking about last night. It's strange how quickly your body reacts before your brain catches up. My hands went cold, my throat tightened, and I felt as if I'd stepped out of my own life and was watching someone else's tragedy unfold. I told myself I wouldn't look, that I would wait and talk to him like a reasonable person, but reason is a fragile thing in moments like that. By the time Daniel walked in that evening, I was ready, not with rage, but with the kind of stillness that frightens even the guilty. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I simply held up his phone and asked, "Who is she?" His face shifted in ways I can't fully describe. Surprise, yes. Guilt, obviously. But there was also a flicker of relief, as though the weight of his secret had been suffocating him too. What followed was a blur of words I half heard and half refused to process. He said it wasn't serious, that he had felt lonely, that he still loved me. I stood there, clutching the countertop to keep from collapsing, realizing that love, whatever it was, had already been rewritten in our marriage without my consent. I wish I could say I cried that night, but the tears didn't come. Instead, I felt hollow. I went to bed early while he sat in the living room, the distance between us measured not in feet, but in trust that would never return. In the weeks that followed, we tried talking. We even sat across from a marriage counselor, answering questions that felt like digging through the ashes of a fire we'd both stood too close to. But the truth had a taste I couldn't wash out of my mouth. Every smile felt counterfeit, every touch a reminder. The day I confronted my husband's secret wasn't just the day I learned he had betrayed me. It was the day I realized that my version of our marriage existed only in my head, and once you see the cracks, you can never unsee them. I walked away 6 months later, not because I stopped loving him, but because I finally loved myself more. 3 years later. Sometimes I wonder if he ever thinks about that night, the way I looked at him, not with rage, but with the quiet certainty that something inside me had broken for good. But I don't wonder for long. His chapter in my life is closed, and the pages are pressed flat. 3 years have passed since I walked out of that house. At first, my life felt like a puzzle with missing pieces, routines that no longer fit, silences that were too heavy, a bed that seemed too wide. But slowly the gaps filled in. I learned to make decisions without a second opinion. I learned the difference between being alone and feeling lonely. I started running again, something I had given up years earlier when life became a sequence of obligations. Each mile felt like I was reclaiming something, my breath, my pace, my sense of self. The woman I was back then would have bent over backwards to save a marriage that was already beyond repair. The woman I am now knows that walking away wasn't an act of weakness, it was the purest form of self-respect. I see Daniel sometimes, in the grocery store, once at a friend's barbecue. We exchange polite nods. His hair is grayer now, his eyes heavier. I don't ask about his life, and he doesn't ask about mine. Some stories don't need sequels. A few months ago, I met someone new. It's nothing like my marriage was. There's no pedestal, no illusion that love makes you bulletproof. Instead, it's steady, honest, and warm. I no longer mistake comfort for complacency or passion for proof of loyalty. The day I confronted my husband's secret was the day I lost the life I thought I had. But it was also the day I started building one that was mine alone, a life where trust is not given blindly and love is not confused with possession. Looking back now, I'm not grateful for the betrayal, but I am grateful for the clarity it brought. Sometimes you have to lose your footing to finally learn how to stand tall.